This is a buyer's guide for anybody looking for a Windows laptop in 2020. So which laptop should you get as a creative professional, whether you're a graphic designer, video editor, photographer, or the like. In this video, we're going to walk through pricing, specs, and use cases so you know which laptop is right for you. Right before we get into the video, I'm going to talk about what to expect fully in this video. These models are going to be priced from lowest to highest in categorical order. I'm going to have timestamps in the descriptions and comments below. So whether it be light design and photo editing with this price point, design photo editing and light video editing at this price point, or design photo editing and 1080p plus 4K video editing at this price point. And these are all estimated price points. I cannot actually declare the actual value of the laptop per FTC regulations. So just know when you click on the affiliate link in the description below to check the actual live pricing. If you make a purchase through that link, I will get a commission, but at no extra cost to you. But that's what keeps this channel alive, and as always, the helpful content coming your way. So I always appreciate it when y'all use those links. Next thing we're going to cover is specs and thoughts on each model and its use cases. Now, I can only include so many laptops on this list, or this video would go on for hours and hours. So I've picked 20 laptops that I have experience with and am most confident in recommending. Now, all of this is possible because of your feedback, your comments, and your suggestions. So people wanted timestamps, categorical order, pricing. This whole video, a Windows laptop buyer's guide, actually came from one of my subscribers commenting in the comment section. So if you have any feedback, any ideas, any videos you want to see me put out, definitely comment below and let me know. Also, do note, there's some merch below the video. So I've been putting out some new shirt designs. Keep editing, keep designing, keep moving forward with what you're doing as a creative professional. So consider picking up some of those to support the channel as well. All right, let's dive fully into this video now. The first section we're going to look at is your use cases. So each laptop has a specific use case in my opinion. The power to performance ratio can only handle a certain amount of design tasks. So are you a graphic designer? You're going to be using Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. That's going to be some of the more entry-level to mid-level laptops. Are you a photographer? Photoshop, Lightroom, Camera Raw, same thing. You're going to be using the intro level to medium level laptops. And then moving into a video editor. This is where you're going to get into the medium level, where you're using Premiere Pro, After Effects, or DaVinci Resolve. And then 3D animators or designers. You're going to be using After Effects, Blender, and Illustrator. These are going to be more of the high-end laptops. And we'll continue to talk through more of these things as we make our way through this video. All right, so the first section is light graphic design and photo editing. First laptop on the list is the Asus VivoBook Thin 15. Now, I really like this laptop for graphic design and photo editing. Nothing too intense. I think sticking to one, maybe two programs while you're working on this laptop at a time will give you optimal performance. This laptop is estimated at around $399 and comes with the latest i3 10th Gen 0051G1 processor, which has the Intel Ultra HD graphics. Now, this is a 2-core 4-thread processor, so it does not have a lot of power to do multitasking. That's something I just mentioned. You want to be running one design program at a time. Paired with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of solid-state hard drive storage, this is a great laptop to get us into the mix for graphic design and photo editing. Now, do notice though, this is my main concern with these entry-level laptops. They don't have the best color accuracy because we're using more affordable components. So if you want color accuracy, I would consider increasing your budget or possibly getting an external monitor, but that would also have to increase your budget. So if you're looking for color accuracy, you're kind of stuck getting more of the higher end laptops that we're going to talk about later in the video. But if you don't mind about color accuracy, if you're just getting started, this is a great laptop to get you started into the industry. All right, the next laptop we're going to look at is the Acer Aspire Slim 5. Great laptop, great performance. It's about $449, and it has the Intel 10th Gen i3 10110U. Now, this processor has a little bit less quality graphics processing, and that doesn't really matter too much for this use case. It will help a little bit in Photoshop, but very minimal. People say that they want to see more graphics processing in Photoshop. It does help, but not a ton. It's more for video editing. Okay, this has a pretty solid processor with a 2.1 gigahertz base clock and 4.1 gigahertz turbo. But remember, it's 2 cores and 4 threads, so not the best for multitasking. Also, this one is more expensive, but as you notice, it has less RAM. Now, RAM is the component in the computer that helps you run multiple programs or tasks at the same time. So this is a number I want to see stay around 8 to 16 gigs of RAM personally. So I would not personally jump on this laptop unless I could find an 8 gig model, which would ultimately put this price up a little bit higher. But that is my recommendation. I would not go with this 4 gigs. I put this here because it's a good price point, but I would recommend 8 gigs. Okay, the color gamut range is getting better. We're seeing 65% sRGB and 47% Adobe RGB. Nothing earth-shattering, but definitely moving up the ladder on the specs here. The next laptop is the HP 15 laptop. Moving up on the price point, it's about $499 estimated. Definitely check out, like I said, the links below for the actual price points. They do change from time to time. And this comes with, again, the i3 10th Gen 5G1. That is a solid processor, but this one again has 4 gigs of RAM. So I would look for this model with more RAM memory to get better performance. But what's really awesome about this laptop is we're starting to get better color accuracy. The sRGB is not the best color space. It's not going to get you the most gamut range, but having a high sRGB is better than not. This is the one that we really want to pay a lot of attention to. We want to get this over here, Adobe RGB, as close to 100% as possible. So again, another great laptop. Definitely want to upgrade to 8 gigs of RAM if possible. But if your budget only allows you to start here, then do what you can. Get it, try the photo editing and graphic design tasks and see how it works out. But like I said, these are the main budget ones, and I recommend them with light hesitation just because I know that more power equals a better experience and a smoother experience while you're working on your projects. The Lenovo V14. This is going to be the top tier, in my opinion, for this category. So this comes with the latest Ryzen 5 45U. So that's one of the new 4000 series processors from Ryzen. Really excited about these processors. Having a 2.3 gigahertz base clock with 6 cores and 6 threads. This thing is a multi-use case hero for the budget category. Coming up a little above $579, definitely getting up there in price point, but it is going to be a good laptop for designers wanting to run multiple programs at the same time. We have the 8 gigs of RAM memory, great for graphic design and photo editing, 256 gigs of solid state hard drive storage, but we're still struggling with the color gamut range. Just keep that in mind on these lower end laptops, and by lower end I mean lower budget. They tend to have lower color accuracy because of the components that can be put into them to keep them at a low price point. So AMD, super impressed with their new 4000 series processors. This will be a solid buy for anybody looking for a great design or photo laptop. All right, moving into the graphic design, photo editing, and light video editing. So this is for people looking to do some light 1080p video editing, but really want to do a lot of graphic design and photo editing tasks, running multiple design programs at the same time, maybe doing Camera Raw and Photoshop. So this is going to be the laptop. These are going to be the laptops for you. All right, the first one on the list is the Lenovo IdeaPad S340. It's estimated at around $715. Has the i7 1065G7, fantastic processor, and an integrated Intel Iris Plus G7 graphics. That's going to be helpful for video editing. These first two laptops are not going to be like my top picks in this category for video editing. Though they will be able to do it, I'm not promising huge. Why am I saying huge? I'm not promising very fast, smooth timeline as you're working in Premiere Pro. Sometimes I'm getting jumbled in my words. So basically, when you're working in Premiere Pro, you have the timeline, you're editing, you click play, and it doesn't stutter, or it does stutter. This one does not promise a completely stutter-free experience, but it is definitely better than the last category that we saw if you want to try one of those laptops for video editing, though I don't recommend it. So moving on into this category, this is a great starting point for light video editing. All right, so we have a 1.5 gigahertz base clock with 4 cores, 8 threads, much better for multitasking than the category before, and a 3.5 gigahertz turbo clock. Has 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of solid state hard drive storage. But again, like we said, working on this color gamut range. So if this is important to you, definitely keep an eye on that. For some people, it's not important. Me personally, I don't get really hung up on color gamut range, though I do have a Dell XPS 15, which has excellent color gamut range. That was not the original reason that I purchased it. I purchased it for the performance. All right, moving forward to the HP Envy X360. Great laptop, great 2-in-1 laptop for any illustrator, any Photoshop guru who wants to do painting or photo editing, or maybe some image correction or some touch up on people's faces in your portraits. Awesome 2-in-1 touch laptop. I don't believe this one comes with a pen, but like I said, you'll have to check the actual video link in the description below and then go over to that listing and see if it includes a pen or if it does not. Our estimated price around $829. This one does have the latest Ryzen 5 4500U. Big win right there for multitasking and some light video editing. 2.3, 6-core, 6-thread, and a 4.0 gigahertz turbo clock. All right, that just means that the laptop can reach 4.0 gigahertz in the clock speed, which makes it go faster and makes it complete more clock cycles, which ultimately will give you more performance and a faster computer. If you want to know more about clock speed and base clock and cores and threads, I've made full videos and full playlists about those things on my channel, and you can check it out in the YouTube cards above if you're curious about those videos. It has 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, and has a color gamut range of 91% sRGB and 59% Adobe RGB. So color accurate laptop, definitely moving up the stage here on getting better color accuracy. This is a great one, especially that it's a 2-in-1. So if you're an illustrator or photo editor, this could be a great buy for you. All right, the GF63 Thin. This is one of the first laptops that I get really, really excited about for doing the video editing. The reason being is we have the Intel i5-9300H processor. This has a high performance, higher output processor, as well as the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650. Another plug here for some videos on my channel. If you want to know all about processors, comparing all the Intels against one another, as well as Ryzen, the different lettering and numbering systems, you can check that out in the YouTube cards above. I've created a full video on that. It's been super helpful for people, so I hope you would participate in that if you want to know more about the processors and which one is good and which one is lower performing. Also, I will put in the description below a full list of processors from lowest performance to highest performance. It's a doc I've created to help people understand where processors sit in comparison to one another. I'll link that in the description below as well. All right, so this laptop is great for video editing because of this H-series i5-9300H processor and the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 graphics processing unit. This is the first dedicated GPU we have on the list, and this is what will give you really good scrubbing time, really good timeline performance, so really smooth timeline, and if you have the HEVC encoding turned on, the hardware encoding in Premiere Pro, you're going to get really stellar export times. So great laptop right here for video editing. 8 gigs of RAM. If you can, possibly upgrade this to 16. You'll get even better performance in video editing. But then color gamut range, we're still struggling. Still kind of working on this. It's something that is harder to find in more budget-friendly laptops. One top feature about this laptop that I really like about it is it runs quiet and at cool temperatures. This is one of the quietest and coolest temperature-wise laptops that I've ever reviewed on my channel. I actually reviewed its semi-big brother, the GF65, so you could check that out if you're interested on my channel. The Asus TUF 505 DT. This is the slightly older model, but more budget-friendly. This comes in at around $899. Has the Ryzen 5 3550H processor. It has a 4-core, 8-thread processor, so pretty solid for multitasking, and 2.1 gigahertz base clock, as well as a 3.4 turbo clock. So pretty solid processor there. It's one of their iterations in between generations. So I'm liking this processor a lot, seeing great results from it. Again, a dedicated GPU, the GeForce GTX 1650, 8 gigs of RAM. As always, I recommend upgrading to 16 if possible, just a personal preference. 256 gigs of solid state hard drive, and 59% sRGB, 38% Adobe RGB. The MSI Modern 15. This is a really great laptop for graphic designers who really push their computers harder than normal. So they're running multiple design programs at the same time. And so what we see here is the 4-core, 8-thread i7-10510U. Has a 2.0 gigahertz base clock and a 4.3 turbo clock. It has a GeForce MX 330 graphics processing unit. This is a great graphics processing unit, but it's not going to be as powerful as, say, the GTX 1650. So this isn't my top pick for video editors, though if you're going to do some light video editing alongside your graphic design, then this would be a great buy. It's thin and light, it's got a great build, and one of the big benefits of it is it has pretty solid color accuracy, moving towards the higher Adobe RGB and having a solid high sRGB. So really great laptop, like this one a lot. MSI does some really good stuff for creators. Sorry I said really a lot there, but moving forward. Microsoft Surface Laptop 3 is the next one up on our list. I like this one a lot because of the Ryzen 5 3580U processor. Has 4 cores, 8 threads, a base clock of 2.1, and a turbo clock of 3.7, as well as the Radeon Vega 9 graphics. So again, just like this laptop here, the Modern 15, this Vega graphics is not going to be stellar for video editing, but it'll definitely be good and it'll definitely get you by if you're just doing some light video editing from time to time. This laptop also comes in a few variants. You can get the i7, you can get the i5, as well as the Ryzen 7 3780U. So depending on the processor you want, say you want to get a little bit more power out of this, you could upgrade to the Ryzen 7, or you could upgrade to, say, the Intel i7 version. So some options with this laptop. This also has a stellar color gamut range at 97% sRGB and 72% Adobe RGB. And by stellar, I mean for this category. As we move into the more expensive computers, of course, we're going to see higher performance in the color accuracy. All right, moving into graphic design, photo editing, and 1080p plus 4K video editing. So it's going to be anybody looking to edit 4K video editing and do it very well, have it very smooth. And near the end of this playlist, or this category, you're going to see that I'm going to recommend maybe a little bit of 6K video editing, but these laptops are really solid for 1080p and 4K. Like, they handle them like champs. Starting out with the Lenovo Legion Y540, we have the Intel i7 9750H processor with 6 cores and 12 threads. This is going to be the most budget-friendly laptop in this category at $1,050. Now, I know that a lot of laptops are starting to come out with more Ryzen 4000 series, more i7 10th generations, but as of right now, as far as pricing and fit, these are laptops that I'm definitely recommending. I have some laptops in this category with the 10 series processors. I have some Ryzen 4000s, but know that, these are only a lot of the laptops that are out right now. And definitely comment below if you say, hey, there's a newer laptop out. What do you think of it? I'd love to answer that question for you, make a recommendation. That is why this channel is here, to give you feedback and to help you make the right purchasing decision. Okay, moving forward though, here we have the GTX 1650, 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, and a pretty solid color accuracy of 91% sRGB and 59% Adobe RGB. Once again, 16 gigs of RAM is just going to give you better performance inside of Premiere Pro, but this is a great starting point for our laptops here in this category. Next, we have the Asus TUF A15. I've just reviewed this laptop. It is an excellent buy. People are commenting saying, it doesn't have the best build quality. Honestly, there are better build quality laptops, but I will say that it's very well put together. It has a strong hinge. It's got very light screen flex. It's got a great open and close. It's got a good keyboard. All the parts have been put together very well. It has an aluminum top cover. I wasn't necessarily thrown off by this laptop. I've held laptops in the past that thought, yeah, wow, this is a super cheap laptop. I did not feel that way with the Asus TUF A15. Just wanted to point that out because I know a lot of people are saying, the build quality is not that good. It's not a Dell XPS 15, it's not a MacBook Pro, it's not a Razer Blade, but it is a great laptop for the price point. It sits at around $1,099 with the AMD Ryzen 4800H processor, 8 cores and 16 threads, with a base clock of 2.9 and a turbo clock of 4.2, with the GTX 1660 Ti. This is a really solid setup. Had some really great benchmarks in Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve, especially with the new HEVC encoding from Premiere Pro. So it comes with 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, but one of the things people were complaining about was the color gamut range. It has a fairly low color gamut range for this laptop, so just keep that in mind. Next laptop we're looking at is one of my top favorites to recommend, along with the one preceding this laptop. That is the Asus ROG Strix G7. Great build quality, super rad RGB lighting around the edge of it, and great port options on this laptop. Comes with the Intel i7 9750H processor, 6 cores and 12 threads, and comes in at around $1,160. Has the GTX 1650 graphics processing unit, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, and has a color accuracy of 60% sRGB and 38% Adobe RGB. Really great laptop. Like I said, this laptop over here, the Asus TUF, is going to perform slightly better with that newer 4000 series processor, as well as the 1660 Ti. But if you're looking for an Intel laptop, looking for a super rad design, colorful, like that look, definitely a good laptop as well. And I actually compared these head to head, so if you head on over to my channel, I'll be releasing that video soon. Next laptop is the Asus Zephyrus G14. It's another one of the laptops that has Ryzen's newest 4000 series processors. It has the Ryzen 9 4900HS. 8 cores, 16 threads at around $1,600. This laptop is an insane price point for the performance. You get the RTX 2060 Max-Q with a base clock of 3.0 gigahertz and 4.3 turbo clock, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of solid state hard drive storage, and a 14-inch Full HD display at 100% sRGB and 75% Adobe RGB. It's the best color accuracy we've seen so far, and at a decent price point as far as more high-end premium laptops are concerned. Now, as far as build quality is concerned, I've had my hands on this thing. It's not my favorite. It's pretty similar build quality to, say, the Asus TUF, maybe slightly better put together and assembled, but it's a great laptop for the performance. Punch for punch, it's incredible. All right, moving forward to the Razer Blade 15 base model. This laptop really gets my prize for one of the best build qualities for a Windows laptop. It's the most similar to what I would say would be, a MacBook Pro from Apple. Definitely a lot of people who like the MacBook Pro but want to buy Windows or want to buy a more affordable laptop comparatively go for the Razer Blade 15. This sits at around $1,600 and it has the latest i7 10th generation i7 10750H. So for around the same price, you can either pick up an Asus Zephyrus with the new Ryzen 9 or the Razer Blade 15. If I were looking for build quality, personally, I would lean towards the Razer Blade. If I were looking for multitasking performance, I would go for the Asus Zephyrus. Just comparing these two so you guys get a feel for it. All right, so now we have in this laptop 6 cores, 12 threads with a 2.6 base clock and a 4.05 gigahertz turbo clock. The GeForce GTX 1660 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, and a color gamut range of 91% sRGB and 59% Adobe RGB. Surprisingly, still struggling here with the color gamut range, but as we move forward, you'll see some more laptops with better color accuracy to come. Next, we're looking at the Acer Predator Helios 300. This laptop and the Asus ROG Strix G are two laptops I'm putting head to head on my channel. Gonna have that video out soon, so definitely keep an eye out for it if it's not already out. So you can see my thoughts between these two. Okay, the estimated price on this one is $1,610. You get the i7 9750H processor, 6 cores and 12 threads at 2.6 base clock and a 4.05 turbo clock. It comes with the GTX 1660 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, and a 93% sRGB with a 60% Adobe RGB. This is the best-selling laptop on my channel for 2019, and it continues to be right now in 2020. I sold the most laptops through my channel, according to the affiliate links, which you can use to support the channel, of course. I always appreciate that. This laptop was the top selling and highest really recommended laptop. It's got a great price point with great performance. It's all aluminum. It's a solid buy, and that's why I've seen so many people purchase it. So Acer's doing a really good thing here, trying to create some more budget-friendly and high-performance laptops for creators. Now, they also have a different version of this laptop called the Concept D3, and it is a completely color-accurate version of the Acer Predator Helios 300, although I've seen it struggle to be in stock. So I wasn't going to list that laptop in this video, but I will put it there just as a kind of indicator. And then if it does come in stock, awesome. You should definitely pick that up because it's only slightly more expensive than this one, and it's 100% color accurate in Adobe RGB and DCI P3. So definitely something to look at and consider. Hopefully it's in stock when you watch this video. All right, the next laptop is the Gigabyte Aero 15. This is one of the laptops that I said got my best in show at CES 2020. It has a few really neat disclaimers. Disclaimers is kind of a negative word. Features, should I say. But to start out, it has the i7-9750H processor with 6 cores and 12 threads, 2.6 gigahertz base clock, 4.05 turbo clock, and it comes in at around $1,700. Has the GTX 1660 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, and a 15.6 inch display. Now, they have Pantone certified these laptops with 100% sRGB and 100% Adobe RGB at a Delta E less than 1, which is very color accurate. And that also means that these laptops come out of the factory being color calibrated and approved that they are in fact color calibrated at 100% Adobe RGB, which is an awesome feature. They also have something called Microsoft AI, Microsoft Azure, which allows them to send information to the cloud if you approve it to do so. And at that point, what's going to happen is it's going to optimize your system for the apps you're using, whether you're using Photoshop, Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve. It's going to optimize your laptop to run better for those programs. I reviewed this laptop fully in a recent video. I really like the build quality. It was one of the most impressive laptops I've honestly seen on my channel from this category, this, gamer laptop turned, creative professional laptop. So I really, really like it a lot, and it doesn't have an insane price point. So definitely consider this one. It's one of my favorite laptops of this mix. All right, jumping in next to the Dell XPS 15 7590. This is the newer generation of the laptop I'm currently using, which is the Dell XPS 9560, I believe is the one I have. And so this laptop is really great color accuracy, great performance. They just launched the newest version of the Dell XPS, though they're not shipping them quite yet at the making of this video. But once those go to market, I'll make sure that's linked in the description below. So I'm going to talk about this one first, and then I'll kind of highlight a few things on the newer model. But I wanted to get this video out. I didn't want to have to wait for you guys. I know you guys have been wanting this video. This laptop comes with the i7-9750H processor at 6 cores, 12 threads. As we know, we've been using this processor a lot in this video now in the high-end category. It's around $1,900, and it comes with the GTX 1650 graphics processing unit, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of solid state hard drive, a 4K color accurate screen at 100% sRGB and 100% Adobe RGB. Now, the newer Dell XPS 15 is going to come with either the i7-10750H or the i7-10875H. Two great processors, and then also I'm almost 100% positive you're going to be getting the GTX 1660 Ti. So it's definitely going to be a step up from this laptop. They've completely redesigned it. It has a larger trackpad. I hope that's something they resolved is the trackpad. Just being honest, one issue that I see a lot with my Dell XPS 15 and still saw it with some of the newer models was the battery would expand and then push up the trackpad, and it makes it very difficult to use. So what happens is the hardware on this laptop is rather unfortunate comparatively to the Windows Precision drivers that it has. It does have great Windows Precision drivers, but there's some bit of a hardware malfunction with the swelling battery, which causes the trackpad to not operate as I would like. Love the keyboard on this laptop. I love basically everything else about this Dell XPS 15 except that. So I'm hoping that they resolve that in the newer model of the Dell XPS 15. I honestly, even with that swelling trackpad, I know it's weird, but I would still recommend this laptop. It's been very faithful to me. It's got great performance. But I did want to put out, kind of that disclaimer that is a foreseen issue that they're having. Hopefully they're resolving it through generations as well as in this newest design. All right, I digress. Let's keep moving forward. The Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Extreme. I've had a lot of people ask me about this laptop. I had my hands on it at CES. It's a great size, great build, really secure, strong laptop. It's got great performance as well. It has the i7-9750H processor. I'm sure they're going to release the 10th series i7 processor in this laptop very soon, but at the filming of this video, that was not available yet, so I didn't want to recommend that one quite yet. But like I said, when it comes available, you'll be able to see that in the description below and consider that model. Comes with the GTX 1650 graphics processing unit, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, and a 15-inch color accurate screen at 99% sRGB and 68% Adobe RGB. Really solid laptop. Comes in at a little bit more expensive than even the Razer Blade and the Dell XPS at around $1,900, basically $2,000. But for the exact pricing, of course, you can check the description below. Next on the list is the Asus ZenBook Pro Duo, basically the ultimate workflow computer. What I love about this laptop is you can have your main production happening up here, and you can even place your timeline down here. So that way you can have all of the screen and effects for Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve up top, and you can have your timeline down here to kind of keep it separate and get more screen space. One thing that happens to me a lot when I'm editing is I feel like I run out of screen space. I mean, I have a dual monitor setup and my laptop screen, and I still feel like sometimes I don't have enough screen. So this is a great on-the-go laptop when it comes to workflow, because it just has such an ability to give you more screen space, which I think is super beneficial and valuable. All right, the next thing to look at is the specs. At $2,395, it is the most expensive laptop on this list, but with good point. It's got that dual screen setup. That's a lot of technology and money in this thing here. It comes with the i7-9750H, 6 cores, 12 threads, and it has the RTX 2060 graphics processing unit, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of solid state hard drive, 15-inch 4K display at 81% sRGB and 62% Adobe RGB. If you have any questions, if you want to go ahead and make a purchase through the links in the description below, as always, I am super grateful for when you guys use those. So it keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. I've loved this journey. I've loved bringing these videos to you, helping you guys make the right purchase decision. Let me know if you have any questions. I am here to help. I'm Benji Kaiser. Thank you for requesting this video and taking the time to watch it, and I'll see you guys here in the next one.